Here's a scenario, guys. You just took a rental property back, whether they moved out or you moved them out. It doesn't matter, but the property needs a lot of work. It's in a condition that you can't just rent it again or sell it to get your money out. So what are you actually going to do in this situation? So this is a very common situation, guys. This may be happening to you right now. You may have multiple properties like this right now where you don't have the money to get them up and stabilized to where you can rent them again to get the amount of rent that you need to cover your debt service. So what are you actually going to do? On the board behind me, guys, I'm going to walk through 8 different ideas just to help you guys get that thought process up and going. And I'm going to give you my take on this. And hopefully after this video, you guys have a better idea of what you need to do. So the first thing is at the top here, number 1 and 2. What do you think these are, guys? This is the only way you can fix your solution. There's 2 different options. The first one is time. Okay. So the first one would be time. I'm going to give you a couple options right here in the time section. And the second one would be money, right? So what does money do? Okay. So obviously, money buys back time. So what I mean by this, guys, is you need to figure out if the solution can be fixed with time or money or a combination of both. So what are some time options real quick? So number 1 right here, guys, I would go back to the tenant. Okay? So if they mess up the property and there's an issue with the property, guys, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice, but I put a little bit of pressure on that tenant to see if you can get some of that money recouped where you don't have to fight them and go through the small claims court process, or maybe even work out an option where if it's just something like painting or, demo work or something, anything that they could do to help out to kind of minimize the damage of the long-term headache and stress of you having to chase them down. So first thing is always go back to the tenant, see if they're willing to indemnify you or rectify the situation in some way, which usually is not the case. So what is another time option for you guys? We're going to go through some of these, which are pretty quick and easy, and then I'm going to get down to the bottom ones, which are the most important ones. So second one would be your time, right? So sometimes, guys, we have to do this. Even now, I still do this, believe it or not, I hate to say it, on some of my properties where I'm already out at one of my properties, an hour from town, nobody's out there, and by the time I can get somebody out there to fix the problem, it may take a week or something like that, where I can just go in and put in 2 or 3 hours or go paint a little bathroom or something like this. Not always fun to do, but sometimes it makes sense when you look at time, energy, and stress levels. You just throw a podcast on, knock it out, get it done because it's the easiest thing to do. Now, I never recommend doing work on your own property, but sometimes you'll have to do this. And this is a situation, guys, where you may have to do this. You may have to put time in on your own property. So you can use your time to go fix the situation, but that's not going to fix all problems because what if it needs money to buy materials and things like that, or you have specific trades like electrical work or plumbing work that you can't do or needs a permit to be able to be done, okay? You need a licensed professional. So the third one is others around you, okay? I know that's kind of some Dr. Chicken scribble right there, but bear with me, guys. You have friends, hopefully, right? This is why you do the right thing and treat people right throughout your life. You have family. Once again, the same thing I said. So hopefully you have friends and family, people around you in your sphere of influence. Go to your church, find people, and be vulnerable, guys. Right now, people want to help others. People want to help each other succeed. People know what's going on in this world. It's a tough time right now. People are open to helping each other. So there's probably someone around you that if this is a more time type of strategy, which can be done with not a lot of expenses for dollars buying materials, that you may have some people come in and help you do drywall work, help you do painting, help you do stuff like, changing trim and things out like that. So think about, guys, who you know that you can maybe trade your time in the future for, or you could go do something for them, trading your time to help them, where they can trade their time to help you. So these are the quickest, easiest ways, guys, with time. Now let's talk about some solutions that take money. Now, most of the time, guys, you're going to need equity in the house. I'm going to give you a couple solutions at the end if you don't have equity, but these are situations that you're going to probably need equity in the house to do this, right? So the first one would be you're going to need to get a HELOC. Okay? So this is a home equity line of credit. If you go down to your local bank, probably some smaller credit unions or community banks, guys, I'd go see if you have a big equity position in the house, can you pull some of that out? Will they give you a small home equity line of credit? That's going to help you get this property up and fixed, maybe fix some other parts of your business and get some things back up, building momentum going forward where you're kind of not in this money pinch. Because sometimes, guys, it's only a few grand, maybe 5 or 10 grand that you guys need to get stabilized and get these properties up and going again. So maybe go see if you can get a home equity line of credit. This is one option. Second option is you can refi. Now, obviously, You have to have a little bit better situation to be able to do this, guys. Refinancing is something that's happening all across the country right now. People are refinancing their old 4 3/4 loans down to the lower interest rate. They're also pulling equity out and they're fixing up their properties. So go down to your local banks, guys, see if refinancing is an option. HELOC loan is one as well. Okay. Now this is another option, guys. Credit cards. Okay. So credit cards is what I specifically use when I got myself into a situation early on in my business. Now also take in mind, credit cards are what got me into a situation where I got into debt in the first place. So be very smart with what you're doing with credit cards. But let's say you only have $6,000 or $7,000 that you guys need. Maybe you can go down and get a credit card that can help you get through this. Now remember, you are not buying materialistic stuff. You're buying an investment in your business that's going to create future cash flow. If you're getting your property up where it can now create cash flow that's going to bring that money back where you can pay off this card, look for cards with 0% interest, long terms where you don't have to pay it off, 12 to 18 month windows. And this could be a solution for you guys to just quickly go get a credit card or use a current credit card that you have. But be very careful, guys, when you're doing this. Make sure you really run the math. Make sure you really know your situation because credit cards can get you in trouble. I wouldn't be here if I didn't use credit cards in my business, but I also was almost not here because I almost went bankrupt because I used too many credit cards in my business. So it's a double-edged sword. Be very careful. Okay, now these are the two right here, guys, that should really help you. The last one specifically is a solution which I use to get out of this spot in the past, and it could be a solution for you guys. But first, I want to give you this one before that, which is get a second lien. Okay? So you have first position liens right now, so you have a lender on that property. So hopefully you have an equity position large enough between what the property value is and what you owe your first position lien lender so that you can come in second position with a backup lender who may be able to fund $10,000, $15,000 and go in second position. Now you are going to need equity. I'd go to places like Quest IRA or Equity or Quest Trust Company or Equity Trust and these big IRA custodian local meetup groups. There's a lot of people that have money in their IRAs that don't know they can self-direct it. A lot of older people that have been around in the business, that have been successful in the business, that always want to help others coming up. They don't want to spend a lot of time, but they also want to create a return on their money, and it's sitting in their IRA account. And a lot of times the problem with a lot of these people that have money in their IRAs is the deal, or they don't have enough money in there to do a full deal. Like they're usually not sitting on a couple $100,000. A lot of times they're sitting on like 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000. So this is a perfect scenario where you can come into a second position lien. Actually, in this property right here, I had a second position lien put on this property from someone that funded it out of their IRA for a different situation. Not because of the one we're talking about right now, but because it's just the way I got this deal closed. So start thinking about who you know around you that could maybe lend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that will be protected by the asset. You will need an equity position in this property to do this, but this is a great solution, guys. If you didn't know that you could do this, go out there and start finding people that could potentially loan money protected by the asset. Now, some people around you may loan you money just as a personal loan. I don't recommend it. It's always best to protect yourself and protect that other person. Now, this is the last one, guys. This is the one that I think could save a lot of you guys right now. Seller financing. Okay? So what will seller financing do? Let's assume that you took 3 properties back and they were going to take, I don't know, $10,000 a piece to get up back where they need to be because the carpet's not great. They need paint. They got some major fixes in some areas, but you don't have the money to fix them up. You can't sell the property retail because if you did, you would take a loss of $15,000 on each property because you couldn't get the properties back up to where they get market value. And you don't have the money to bring to the table. So you can't sell it retail because you can't get out of that property and you're not going to probably be able to work a short sale. So what are you actually going to do? Here's what seller finance can do for you guys. Let's say you take one of those properties. When you owner finance a property, guys, you open up the buyer pool. There's more people in the market buying on owner financing because you open it up for people that have retail opportunity to buy who are traditionally bank financeable, but also people that have the money that can bring a down payment and make the payments. So you have more buyers in the marketplace, right? Also, you have less picky buyers because let's look at a scenario where someone can't get a retail loan and all they can get is owner financing. Would you be picky if you're limited on the houses that you could buy, but you had to rent as an alternative option? So most of the time, a lot of times people will buy a house on owner financing where they're thinking work for equity, which means that they see a property in a depressed condition. They like the idea of getting to pay a little bit less for it. they're going to go in and they're going to put the labor side of the job into the property on their own. So if you look at a rehab, guys, you have labor and materials. Labor cost is a very big part of every single renovation project. So if there's going to be $25,000 in labor, but the person that's going to buy the property from you is in that trade, a contractor or someone that's been doing this for years, they're not looking at that $25,000 as an expense to them out of pocket because they're trading their time to work for equity of the value of the property, if that makes sense, to make that value go up. So they may pay more for the property, and they may also have a large down payment. So let's say you find one of these types of individuals, and it's a house that's $150,000. You sell that property for $165,000 because you can sell it as a premium to the marketplace a lot of times, and now you're going to take 10% down. You're taking $15,000 to $16,000, $18,000 down, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, something around that range. What does this do for you? You're bringing cash in on the front end. You may be able to take this cash and finish those other properties out and finish those where you don't have to sell it on owner finance if you don't want. But if you just want to sell them all, think about this, guys. You're going to take 5 figures down, $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 of property. So you're bringing back in working capital on the front end. But on the back end, what did you also just do for your business? You avoided back end liabilities because now you're carrying back the paperwork on the property. You're not a landlord. So if an HVAC goes out, are you on the hook, or is the person that bought the property for you on the hook for this? So you're avoiding massive back-end expenses, you're bringing in cash on the front end, and you still control the property, creating cash flow with the monthly payments. So this is a great solution for you guys. If you run out of money and you have a property that has low equity where you can't sell at retail, go ahead and sell that property on owner finance, bring in a down payment, look at the situation with your other properties. This may be able to bring you enough money back in to get your other problems stabilized. Still having cash flow, guys, and you're avoiding that back-end expense. Think about this, guys. That's one of the things that I did early on in my business was learn how to do owner financing as a landlord. It was a massive solution for certain problems from time to time throughout the year in my business. So I hope this guys help. I know some of these are basic common sense ideas. Start thinking about this, guys. If you're in this situation, don't deliberate. Stop procrastinating. Get out there and start taking action. Find a second position lender. See what you can do if you can get a credit line or a HELOC. Or if you guys can, just go pound it out using your time as fast as possible and get that property up and stabilized, because every single month that you don't, you're covering that debt service on the property, and you don't want to do that for very long, guys. So get out there, take action. I hope this video helped. Hope this gave you some ideas. I'll see you on the next one.